Hi, it's Corrine, and today I am working on another page in my Smashbook. And this page I'm actually covering up, not because I don't like the paper, but because I really wanted to use this paper here. And what I'm showing you here is doodling on the side, and it says I love you. I printed that out on this paper from my computer. And the paper I'm using is by Glitz Design. It's called Beautiful Day. And here I'm using a 4.5 square photo in black and white, which is my favorite, and I'm really liking the 4.5 by 4.5 size. Here's a piece of paper also from the same collection, and I'll be using that as my mat. I am showing you that I'm using black soot distress ink, and I'm going to ink up the edges of my papers and also my embellishments. It just gives it a very soft gray look almost with one coat. You can get it darker with several coats, but I like the one coat on it. Here is a scallop piece that I cut from the Cameo using the same paper collection. And what I'm showing you here is on my picture itself in the Silhouette Studio. I added the wording, "You make my heart so happy," along with those arrows and the hearts in the upper left-hand corner. And I filled the wording and the arrows and the hearts in with white, and then I just turned the transparency up to 50%. That way it wasn't so stark white. It blended in a little bit better with the photo. There's a tag that I also cut out from the paper collection, and I'm adding a hole to the top of it with my big bite. And then I'm going to add some seam binding, hug snug seam binding, and making a bow. That seam binding I got from Amazon quite a while ago. I've used a lot of it and I still have a lot left. It comes in 100 yards, and I believe I paid about $9 for it. So that's a really great deal. And you can also stain or color it to any color that you want. It takes color really well. Here I'm showing you I've already added tape to the back of my matting before I decided I wanted to add a tag behind it. So I'm just going to use my craft knife and take off the edges and leave the middle part where the tag will go, leave the backing on the tape. That way my tag slides in and out well. Here's a viewfinder with hearts in it from the same paper collection, and I distressed the edges of that, and I'm adding the top piece to the back piece with Scotch Quick Dry. Here I have a rose background that I cut out of vellum from the Cameo, and I wanted it to stand out a little bit more without being too overbearing, so I used picket fence in distress paint and added a little bit to that, and I'll let it dry. And then I'm also using some heart punches, 3 of them each, and I'm stacking them together to make them a little bit more sturdy because I'm going to add some glossy accents and some glitter on top of them. And the reason I'm doing 2 different ones is I wasn't sure which I wanted to go with, so I went ahead and made both of them to decide then, which I ended up going with the silver one that you'll see here on my page. I'm applying the glossy accents, and what I do is add a bead around the entire outside of the heart and then fill it in with glossy accents. You do need to let the glossy accents with the glitter on it dry for a little while, so that's why I'm doing that now. That way I can work on other things. And after it dries, if you'd like, which I will probably go ahead and do, is add another coat of the glossy accents on top of it to give it a little more shine. So there is the heart done with rock candy, distress glitter. And the next one I'm showing you here is pumice stone. They're both really pretty and they're very toned down for glitter. The distress glitters are. So that one again is pumice stone, and that's the one I end up using. So I'll set those aside to dry. I decided now to add my tag to the side instead of the top, so I'm doing the exact same thing with the tape. I'm going to just cut away the sides and leave the middle portion where the tag goes in and out, and that way it will not affect the tag. Adding my journaling. And now here's my vellum cut out. I'm seeing where I want it placed on my page, and then I will cut a portion of it off since I don't need all of that. I didn't want it interfering with my tag. So I'll just save that other portion for another project. And then the part that remains, I will tape down with Scotch tape. That way it holds it in place and it allows my tag to slide over it easily without getting caught on the delicate pieces. Going to go ahead and add the viewfinder. Here I'm showing you up close what it looks like with that white picket fence on it. It turned out really pretty and it stands out a little bit better against the pink background. Here is a geotag that I cut out from the paper collection, and inside of that it has a pink heart, so I'll distress that as well. That way it stands out a little bit better. And I'll remove all the tape from the back except that small portion on the side where my tag is, and then I'll adhere that down and cut off any extra that's hanging off the page. I decided when adding my photo to put it at a slight angle, that way it wasn't so straight on. And now I'll add the geotag. Those little tweezers are tweezer bee tweezers. I got them from Michael's a long time ago. They really help with small, intricate pieces. Here I have a doily that I cut out from the same paper collection, and I'm adding a lot of glue to it just so I can work fast. And then what I do is just kind of wipe off some of that glue on a scratch piece of paper. That way it doesn't ooze out everywhere once I place it down. I do the same thing with the title here. I just cut off the extra doily that was hanging over the edge, and I'll use that towards the top in a minute. So same thing, I'm adding just a lot of glue so I can work fast, and then I'll wipe it off on that scratch piece of paper so when I place it down, it's not too much glue coming out. Plus the Scotch Quick Dry dries clear. That way if there is any there, you won't even see it. That's a real delicate title there. Adding a bow with a pink pearl in the middle with some hot glue. I cut the bow from the cameo along with these arrows that I'm adding. Using the Scotch Quick Dry again. Now I'm adding a few hearts. Here I'm showing you the glitter tape that I'm using is by Forever in Time. And I know that Close to My Heart and American Craft sells it, and I know several other places sell it as well. I'm cutting it into a banner shape and adding it to the top left of the page. And what I'll do is just leave it a little bit longer so I can wrap it around the back. And this stuff is real sticky. It holds very well. I also want to add a small piece by the photo. So I end up adding it under the photo here. And in order to balance it out, I wanted to add a little bit in the bottom as well. So I just pull up that heart, add it under there, and then re-glue the heart down. Again, just wrapping it around the back and adding a couple more hearts. There's the doily. I wanted to add that color in the top of the paper as well. So I end up putting it behind the photo mat up there at the top. Here I'm showing you I just did a zigzag stitch at the top right corner and the bottom left going through the title. And I'm pulling the strings through and adding some scotch tape to the back. That way the strings don't pull through the front. That's a benefit of adding a page to your smash book or covering up a page is that you can do that, add some sewing. It just gives it a little bit more dimension to it. So I'm adding some enamel dots by Teresa Collins from her Summer Stories line. There's three things I'm really enjoying lately using, and that's enamel dots, the glitter tape, and those bows. So I'm sure you've seen several of my pages with those three things on them lately. Here is where I add the glitter heart, the one with the pumice stone. It was sitting up a little high on those embellishments, so I added a pop dot on the right side and added some hot glue on the other to adhere it down. So the only thing I have left to do is remove the tape backing and add it into my book. I have some photos coming up. If you have any questions on anything I've used, just leave me a comment below and check me out on Facebook. I'm at Corene's Creations on both Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for stopping by.